If you've ever felt like you have been unfairly treated, whether it's at work, in business, with friends or family, and you have this overwhelming feeling of they should just do this, they should just do that. Why can't they be like this? Because you can see how things could just flow more harmoniously and cause less struggles and pain and difficulty, whether for you or for the whole, then this video is for you. I was recently talking with someone who was having some challenges in their workplace, and these challenges have been going on for a long time. And basically, this person and their team members have been feeling more and more pressure, high expectations put on them, no reward, no increase in salary, very little respect or acknowledgement in the quality of the work they do, the efforts they've done, and how they're helping carry the company under all this pressure. And on top of that, people started to be fired for various reasons, and it just felt extremely unfair for a lot of the employees and the people involved in the team. And this person who I was speaking to was sharing her experiences, and the same thing kept coming up, like the same words, saying they should just, if they just communicated better, like, why can't they just do this? Why can't they see? And these are very common frustrations, right? When we're facing situations like this. However, as much as we feel like people should act different or see things different, and if they did, the world would be a much better place, it's an impossible battle to try and change people, or to try and get them to see and change. Because ultimately, we live in a world of free will, right? So we have the free will to think and act in the way that we choose, and other people have the free will to think and act in the way they choose. And this gets complicated because when in relationships, as we all know, other people's actions always have a ripple effect on us, and our actions have a ripple effect on others. And so while this team, like, who knows what's really going on beneath the surface, what I found is when you dive in, when people can be open and honest and share, there's always a reason that makes sense beneath the surface of why things are happening. So maybe the higher ups in the company, like on the surface level, they are being extremely unreasonable. But when you understand what's going on in the background, it's like, oh, it makes sense why they're acting that way. I might not agree with why they're acting that way, but I can at least see and understand why they're acting that way. You know, an example off the top of my head, say the person at the top was feeling all this pressure to make enough money to pay salaries, and they had loan sharks on their back, and the loan sharks are threatening them, like, we need the money, you're behind your payments. And so that means that the owner, the CEO, is in fight or flight. This is a completely random example, but taking that and how that kind of fear space can cause the CEO to act unreasonably to employees, it's one way of just opening the mind. Now, when I start putting out examples like this, it's very easy to say, yeah, but that's stupid, that's false because of this, that's false because of that. This example is just to show, like, there's possibilities beyond just what our first-hand experience tells us is going on. So the first step really in these situations to deal with them and overcome them is to do our best to open our minds to a compassionate viewpoint. Like, I don't know why they're acting this way, but there's got to be a valid reason why. And this is really difficult to do when your job or your salary, like your security, is on the line. And I'm not saying that we need to self-sacrifice or sort of or mother them and be like, oh, poor you. Like, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying to accept the situation as it is and try to withdraw from forming judgments. Why? The reason why this is so powerful is because it takes the pressure off of you. Because fighting the way that people are, and by fighting, I mean by saying they should be different, they should do that, they should act this way. All it's doing is putting more weight on you, draining you, tiring you. When the only real solution is to accept the reality as it is and take responsibility for what's within our power. Now, why is this difficult? This is difficult because there's fear involved. So the people in this situation, the team involved who aren't happy, if they're so unhappy, why are they still in the job? Why are they still tolerating this? Like, they don't have to tolerate it. And this is where you can see the other side of the argument, where team leaders or people in a company like this are like, well, if you don't like it, leave. And that can be triggering for team members, the people, the employees, because they feel like they're cornered. But why do they feel like they're cornered? Because the fear is keeping them there. The fear of not being able to find another job, not being able to make as much money somewhere else, leaving and going somewhere else where the situation is even worse, right? Which are all valid fears. But those fears are the reason why people stay in these jobs and stay in these situations. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just pointing out the facts that there is a reason why people stay despite not liking the situation that they're in. And as soon as we can take responsibility that, okay, I don't like this, I don't like the way they're treating me, but I am choosing to still show up, and I'm still choosing to put myself in this situation, and I can choose to take myself out of the situation. And it's my responsibility to decide what I want to do, and it's my responsibility to take the risk involved with either route. And I get it. Again, I get it. It's hard. It's hard if you're applying for jobs and people aren't responding. And even though it is hard, it's still our responsibility, because nobody is holding us at gunpoint, I hope, to stay at the company. But it can feel like there's a gun to our head when the fear is involved. The fear feels very real. But oftentimes, there's always opportunities there. But to first take acceptance and responsibility for the situation, that we have power, we have influence, it's the first step. And without that responsibility, we feel powerless, which is an illusion. We're never powerless. There's always options. So I hope this was helpful. If you needed to hear this, once you take responsibility and start taking steps, micro steps yourself, opportunities will open up. But that first step, accepting what it is and letting go, dropping it, catch yourself every time you think they should. It's like, hey, they have the right to act the way they are, even if I don't like it. And I have the power to change my situation if I choose. And that is the first step to improve any difficult situation that you're in. Hope it helps.